This is a new series I am making that is themed around Field of Battle classes. This video is about the Paladin. I made a video putting the classes in order from worst to best and ranked Paladin 5th. Now I played Paladin a lot more for this video. I think Paladin should have gotten 3rd or 2nd. Let's look at the stats. Paladin buffs armor by 20%, max mana by 50%, and mana reggle by 1. The debuffs are negative 20% melee damage and negative 8% speed. It should be obvious from looking at the stats that Paladin decreases speed for survivability. You kill and run slower, but take less damage and can use spells. I will look at each stat individually and show how it affects the class. First stat, armor buff. Paladin's armor buff is the 3rd highest in the game behind Crusher and Guardian. The 20% armor buff allows you to tank slightly more damage than regularly. The problem is that Fighter, the default class, gives a 10% armor buff, meaning that Paladin only gives a 10% armor buff from the default. Out of all the stats, the armor buff gives the least effect, but it goes great with the other buff. Second stat, mana. Paladin boosts the amount of mana you have and how quickly you regenerate the mana. This is the most powerful part of the class. It's not as good as the mage's mana boost, but you can still defend yourself up close. Problems I find with Paladin is that you tend to use only a few spells, mostly Lifesteal. Without Lifesteal, I prefer playing Guardian over Paladin. It goes great with the armor buff and increases survivability. Third stat, speed. Paladin has the smallest speed stat out of any class, only affecting it by -8%. The debuff does close to nothing but feels crippling. Even though when traveling through the whole map I will only be a few seconds shorter, I feel like it takes 20 more seconds. This is also a problem with Crushers. I think this is good though, because Paladin can use spells to increase speed and slow others down without having to worry about mana. Fourth stat, melee damage. This is the big debuff that makes me prefer Barbarian. The default melee damage is 100%, but Paladin drops it down to 80%. To compare that, Fighter's sword damage is 120%. That's a 40% difference on sword damage. An even bigger comparison difference is with Barbarian. Barbarian's axe damage is 150%. That's almost double of Paladin's axe damage being 80%. It would be double if Paladin's damage went down by 5 more percent. This is the big debuff that makes Paladin not meta. Conclusion. Paladin is a good class and is kind of a mixture between Fighter and Mage. The armor and speed stats barely change anything. The mana and damage stats are what balance the class. For this series I will give classes a score out of 10, with 10 being the best. I would give Paladin 8/10. The mana buff is fun and very useful in increasing survivability, but the melee nerf stops this from being effective for grinding.